Hey guys, I'm here with Anthony Giordano with Giordono's Health and Fitness, and we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition today and how nutrition and what Anthony does and how he coaches his clients can help with recovery and also just helping them achieve their health and fitness goals. So I'm Dr. Jim Heatherman with Fit Muscle and Joint Clinic. I'm a chiropractor, and at Fit we do rehabilitative exercise with physical therapy and chiropractic, focusing on musculoskeletal pain as well as overall health. And so all of our clients are usually very active and working towards improving their health journey, whether it's via pain or performance. So we use a lot of manual therapy, chiropractic adjustments, and rehabilitative exercise, as well as some basic nutritional recommendations, but we'll dive into a little bit more of that today with Anthony, and kind of talk about how you can take that a step further, and maybe take advantage of some of the services that he offers as well. So this is Anthony with Giordano's Health and Fitness. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for introduction. So Giordano's Health and Fitness, it's me and my wife, Rachel. We've been running our business for about 11 years now. So been coaching clients for about a decade, really emphasized moving into nutrition about 6 years ago, when personally just understanding how the role nutrition plays, not in only performance, but really it's more about the recovery process. Precision nutrition certified. That's where my curriculum and background and my methodology. It's really been a fun journey, but I just, I love food, and I understand really why I think this connection between the two of us would be great, because nutrition really is two things. One, it's food for fuel, but it's also food for recovery. Those are the two processes food really plays in the body. And so I think identifying the recovery process is so important, because most of us just focus on the other part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that just with my background previous to chiropractic, doing personal training, I think all of us have questions, misinformation, concerns regarding food and nutrition. And so it's difficult to sometimes narrow down what is the right thing to be doing, and to kind of sort of get rid of all the myths and the fallacies out there, and just really focus on the basics of nutrition, which really, like you said perfectly, is fuel. Are you fueling your body well enough to recover? And are you getting the right nutrients to recover? So we can kind of talk a little bit about that, and kind of, most of our clients come in to see us because they have maybe pain or injury or tendonitis or post-surgically. And so healing and providing the right nutrients for healing is a very important aspect of that. On the other hand, we have people that kind of have like a systemic inflammatory kind of presentation, and kind of talking about how food can be anti-inflammatory in nature as well, to help them heal, is part of the conversations that we have. But we often don't try to dive too deeply into the weeds. So, that's where we would try to bring in somebody that can kind of talk to them a little bit more and counsel them on that.
Yeah. Well, I think, the thing that I noticed with nutrition is most people have that I know what to eat, right? Most people will be like, yeah, I know what's good for me. I just don't do it. Now, there's obviously, I say, a good mixture of the population that's, it doesn't know, because you said there's so much fallacy, there's so much confusion in the field of nutrition. Like, does gluten make me fat? Is carbs really bad for me? Well, now fats are awesome, but fats used to give me, high cholesterol and all of that stuff. So it's like, absolutely. How can you even stay up to date with it? So, that's really my approach, is, staying consistent with the change, and not only what science is saying with nutrition, but the evolution of just nutrition in general, and knowing what our bodies are really needing. I coach my clients from the basis, what I think most all diets kind of start around the same framework. They all tend to focus on the same foods primarily. The one thing you hear all diets talk about is eat your vegetables, eat your fruits and vegetables, eat the natural whole foods. I know when we started working together, you even mentioned yourself, you and your wife, I think, doing Whole30 and just the basis of just having a more natural diet that way. And that's very important for anti-inflammatory effects. The natural healing aspects of the body are amazing. If you give it the right nutrients, your body will know how to use those vitamins, those minerals efficiently, much better than it will from, supplements and other things like that. So, nutrition is really the basis of, or the foundation, the start of the healing process, whether, you're coming off of a surgery, like you said, or you've been going really hard working out and you tweak something, is it 2 days you're laid up or is it 2 weeks that you're laid up? The nutrition can really play a big part of that.
Absolutely. So when you work with clients, both personal training and even just maybe just nutritional clients, what are some of the basic recommendations that you start with? Like, do you guys discuss calories? Do you guys just discuss macros? Does it depend on kind of their body type? What do you look at when you try to decide kind of where that path is going to go?
Yeah. It really depends on the individual. It's funny, you'll hear me say that a lot. It depends when it comes to nutrition because it is so different. There's a million types of diets out there, but they all kind of funnel back to the same fundamental principles. When it comes to weight loss, calories is very important because calories in versus calorie out is what's going to obviously put on weight or reduce weight. It's not necessarily. What's that?
Not always that simple though, right?
It's not always that simple though, because if it was, we wouldn't be, one of the most overweight nations in the world. And I think we're approaching close to around 35% of the population's obese. I think somewhere over 30% is considered, or 28% extremely obese or something like that. So, it's not a simple math equation. Unfortunately, you just can't add up all the calories on the nutrient labels throughout the day and then assume that, oh, well, this is what my metabolic rate, these are how many calories I should burn. And it's even more confusing, I think, for a lot of people because, we all kind of base our framework around this idea of 2,000 calories, right? Now, the biggest eye opener, I think, for a lot of people is when I explain to them that the 2,000 calorie day diet was actually a recommendation developed in the 1990s when they surveyed, I believe it was like 1,500 men, women, children, and found out their average calorie totals through the day. And they find that the average was really about 2,300. They reduced that to 2,000 because it was a simple number for people to understand. It was like, we're actually promoting a reduction than what the average is. So they thought that would at least help with weight gain, weight loss. But the biggest eye opener, I think, is I tell people the 2,000 calorie day is really the average for a moderately active 130 pound, 35-year-old female. So when you come and think about that as whether you're a big guy or even a bigger female or, maybe you're older, it starts to really kind of reflect your mind, like, well, that 2,000 calories really tells me nothing then.
Right.
So a lot of times we're starting with clients back at square one. It's like, we don't need to worry about the numbers right now. It's understanding to recognize what your body feels when it eats the specific foods that it should be eating, understanding hunger cues. We'll talk about macros, making sure you are getting sufficient protein in because, protein is going to create the most caloric burn. It's going to elevate your metabolism the most. But in the process of recovery and confusion of carbs are very important as an energy source and for rebuilding for the body in recovery. So, all of that kind of stuff, it's individual. But we help people really understand it versus just saying, here's the numbers you got to be at, now hit them.
Right. Yeah, I find that a lot as we talk with clients or with our patients. They just usually have a hard time kind of figuring out what to start with, because when we do start talking nutrition, you're considering obviously a very big lifestyle change, and like you said, there's a lot of confusion out there as to what is the right thing to do for that person. So I definitely believe that individualization is extremely important, and I make some general recommendations for patients as far as basic nutrition and basic principles of getting whole foods rather than processed foods, and trying to kind of gauge that. But obviously it's very important to have an individualized plan, because everybody is different and everybody's day-to-day calorie burn is different. So we can all try to classify ourselves as active, moderately active, or sedentary or whatever, and it may not necessarily fit into the online calculators that you might utilize. So it's definitely important for people to have success, I think, to have an accountability partner and have somebody that they can go to for advice and to help them make those decisions, because it's overwhelming if you try to take it all on at one time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny. So over the last probably 5 years, maybe you see this too. I feel like corrective exercise has really become kind of a big word in our industry, and people are kind of understanding that more. Like, well, exercise is not just about kicking my butt and getting a good sweat, but it's also learning to correctly move, function, and do things properly so my body's not aching. And I look at nutrition a lot the same way. I don't know that I'm like making up this word, but if you Google it, you don't really see it. Corrective nutrition, because that's what it is for a lot of people. It's not about helping you hit the right calorie intake so you get six-pack abs. It's right. About correcting your habits and your understanding of what works well for your body, so that you're not ever having to be on some type of diet or some rules or restrictions, but you're actually just operating the way your body operates the most optimal in the world. And then, that creates so much more freedom for people.
Absolutely. Just kind of teach them the new path.
Yeah. So it's just like that. It's like, it's going back to the basics. We're going to learn the small fundamentals of things, and we're going to just repeat those over and over until you're like, this is what works for me. I know what works for me. And, maybe it's taking a bit from the keto diet. Maybe it's taking a bit from the vegan. Maybe we're taking some from Whole30, and we're pairing it all together to make an eating style that works for them.
Right. So some of our patients, we obviously kind of know just general expected healing times or recovery times from exercise. Everybody's probably heard of delayed onset muscle soreness, and that's usually expected within 24 to 48 hours, typically after an exercise session or workout. But then we have patients that will, report, they're sore for 3 or 4 days following a workout, or, if people are sore after treatment for 24 to 48 hours, that may be expected, depending on kind of what they're dealing with. But if that pain and soreness from, ART or dry needling or an adjustment is lasting 4 or 5, 6 days, that obviously tells us there's something going on with their ability to recover and to heal. And that's usually a big red flag for us in regards to, there's a chemical component or a nutritional component that may not be addressed. And so, as we've talked before, we make some basic recommendations of avoiding those pro-inflammatory foods. But I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about foods that are typically kind of pro-inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory, and how that kind of works.
Yeah. The thing that makes me laugh all the time, and I used to be one of these guys, it was like, you work out hard so that you can get the reward after. It's like, have that cheat meal or whatever. You don't feel guilty about it. but it's funny, those cheat meals always, they end up being either, you know, greasy, fatty, high in sugar, bad for you stuff. Well, that is the exact stuff you shouldn't be eating to help your body when it's under stress. And it's a lot, I think, you know, for people that they're not even, say they're not working out, but they have an injury, they're coming in to see you. It's that same process. They may be coming in, they may not feel like, oh, I didn't work out and burn 1,000 calories, so my muscles really didn't get that strain. But you get some Graston on there, that dry needle, and that is a lot of stress right there on the muscle fiber, the muscle itself. And it's, you know, it's already highly inflamed from that. So introducing, you know, stuff into your dietary daily intake that are going to just ignite that even more is going to make that process just prolonged. So, you know, when it comes to anti-inflammatory foods, I mean, people will probably hear them all the time. These are foods you should eat. I mean, berries are great. Berries very high in antioxidants, things that are going to help with inflammation. Your omega-3 fatty acids, so fatty fish like salmon. You always hear that out there, but I mean, just natural foods: broccoli, avocados, peppers, mushrooms, leafy greens, nuts as well. Just like your fatty fish, the fats from your nuts, the monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats, those are the good types of fats that you see diets like the keto built upon that help with fighting inflammation, reducing that buildup. So it's funny. The foods are all out there, and people hear it all the time about, you know, what they should eat. It's just more of shifting your mindset to understand or making those switching choices more consistently.
Right. Yeah, and we've had a few of these discussions just when you've been here, and you know, sometimes people have that maybe it's a mental block, or you know, they may be kind of self-described as picky eaters, and they don't like certain textures of foods, or you know, they just have created this behavior where they don't like those foods, or they've created this belief that they don't like these foods, and they're just kind of put up a wall in regards to eating that, even though they know that those foods can be beneficial to them, and they know that they can you know, have benefit from an overall health standpoint, but mentally they can't get over that hump. How do you approach helping them understand and kind of create value in trying some new things, and taking that leap of faith a little bit to make some baby steps?
You know, the biggest thing is really, it's focused on behavior modification. Really, it is, and we use techniques like that through our coaching modules to just help people identify with what their value system is. I think a lot of times working with individuals, they know the foods that are good for them, and they know it's like, yeah, I don't really enjoy them, but is that because you didn't enjoy it one time when you were 15 years old? Like, I always tell people a story of me. I remember to this day going over to my friend's one night, and his dad broiling Brussels sprouts. And I looked at those things. They smelled so nasty. I just remember feeling nauseous and like, I'm not going to eat them. He's like, you're not getting down until you eat those. And I would never have a Brussels sprout until probably about 6-7 years ago. They're like one of my favorite veggies now. So it's really, you know, for a lot of people, their mindset or the negativity around healthy foods have a lot of times been established by ideas or ideologies from a long time ago that may not even be true for who they are now. So like I said, a lot of it is, you know, understand what is your value system, what do you want for yourself, and then connecting that, how are these foods going to lead you towards that, and improve your everyday life, and understanding then, okay, yeah, I used to hate broccoli, but now I know that broccoli, you know, it's helping me reduce my cholesterol. It's helping me increase my fiber intake, and you know, my body's feeling better about it, my weight's down, like all these benefits that build up from it. The relationship they had developed with broccoli at one time now changes.
Absolutely.
So it's funny. Sorry, I didn't even cut you off. It came to mind because it reminds me of this conversation I had one time. A mentor of mine mentioned the idea of discipline, and people see the idea of discipline as a negative. It's like it's a disciplinary fact. It's kind of following the rules. You got to do this, and a lot of diets sort of kind of get a negative connotation because they're like the rules. You can't break the rules. But when I look at things, I talked about food being able to fuel you and then recover. Well, fitness and activity, that's what our bodies do. Now, nutrition is optimizing the physical, the psychological part of our eating choices so that we can do that, and that discipline is developed through time. Like a musician doesn't sit down at a piano and just start belting out Beethoven, right? They're going to spend years hitting the keys, mixing and matching notes until they've really developed a thorough practice and understanding of it and expertise. So when they have, it's just like we talk about, like you as a chiropractor, that is your discipline. It's something you've learned throughout time, through repetition over and over and over. And that's the same kind of thing, discipline that's really expected with nutrition. Right.
Yeah, and I've always found, unfortunately, we all know we live in a very kind of instant gratification society. So like expectations of results, is I think a tough one when it comes to nutrition, because there's all of these miracle supplements and miracle programs that promise, weight loss or feeling better or whatever in 30 days. But you and I know the reality of that practice is not sustainable. And so I think fighting that challenge a little bit and giving people realistic education and expectations is a big part of that, so that they understand kind of the value in doing it over a long period of time and having the discipline to make that lifestyle change so that it becomes permanent, so they can live a longer, healthier, active life. So that's why, the fad diets and just the different things that people follow, 30-day challenges or detoxes or cleanses, or all those things are very temporary in results.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because we understand as humans, we want instant gratification.
Right.
So people know that, in this industry, they know that, well, we still have to make money. We still want to work, but people want to see results quickly or else they're not going to stick with you. Right. And nutrition, research shows like for nutrition to actually stick and change internally and your metabolic rate to change and reset itself and everything, it takes on average about 4 to 6 months.
Right.
Most people can't stick to a restrictive plan for 4 to 6 months. And that's the problem, because most diets are, like you said, do this in 8 days or 20 days or 30 days. And people can see themselves short term doing that. But like this morning, I was getting my teeth cleaned. The hygienist was telling me, she's like, yeah, I do great for a month. I watch weight. And I'm like, oh, I haven't cheated for 4 weeks. So I have a cheat meal. And then it just spirals out of control. And then I'm going back onto my next 8-day cleanse. And, it's
a vicious.
Yeah, it's very hard. So, that's where, I was talking about, I really like to look at all diets in general and kind of funnel them down to the key aspects. What really does most all diets really kind of center around? And, it's like I said, eating natural whole foods is the first thing. Is like there's 5 keys I tell people that you can do. It doesn't matter about any fad diet. Eat whole foods, fruits and vegetables primarily. Make sure at least half of your plate is coming from the earth. So, if that's fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whatever. Drink water. Drink a ton of water. Water is one of the best fat burning elements in your body. Your body's 60 to 70% of water. So continually drinking, staying hydrated definitely helps with that. 4, always eat breakfast. And when I say eat breakfast, I'm not referring to a time frame. We've seen the research in intermittent fasting and the benefits fasting can have on the body. So when I talk about breakfast, I tell people focus on the word of breakfast, break fast. What food are you putting in your body first to break your fast? That's going to really define and dictate your diet and how your body operates the rest of the day. And does that have number 5? What was number 5? You gotta have a brain fart. have a brain fart when you're going. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'll think of it. But still, but the point I'm getting at is that most diets still really kind of point you back to the same. If you go on any kind of diet, the first things they talk about is, eating clean foods, right? Cutting out your processed junk and eating natural food and staying hydrated. They'll give you their little recommendations, their 22 rules to follow on top of that, so that you'll buy into that quick results. But the key is really making it something you can do consistently that fits your lifestyle, because that's the one thing we do know for sure, is that your life will change. It is not going to stay what it is today. So when you come to me and you're like, I finally had the time that I could commit, 2 weeks to this diet. I'm like, if you say that to me, I'm like, I don't want to do it, because I'm not working for you for 2 weeks, because you're not going to see results that you want that are going to stay. So you got to be in it for the long haul. And so that's where I think the lifestyle idea really comes into play. You hear so much now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that obviously goals is extremely important. So understanding that person's goals and what is realistic with their current lifestyle, and what things can change that are modifiable without completely derailing what they're doing as far as the trajectory of their life, but helping them kind of steer in the right direction and make those baby steps to start turning that around. And we preach to our patients, consistency and frequency is the key to change and the key to adaptability, and I think that goes very true with nutrition. Is you have to consistently make the right decisions, and it can't be just a 3 to 5 day a week thing where you just do it for a few days a week and then you trash it on the weekends and then you start back again on Monday, because the body's not going to change, your brain's not going to change, your gut's not going to change. So it does take time, and it does take commitment. It takes consistency. And I think there's so much with nutrition that it definitely takes that accountability aspect, and having somebody that can lead you kind of and coach you down that path. And I know you have a program, just different programs that you offer specifically for nutrition in addition to personal training. So do you mind talking a little bit about kind of what your programs look like and kind of how different people can approach that or possibly get involved?
Yeah. So my main nutrition coaching program, Performance Nutrition, is a 1-year program, so 50 weeks technically. Now, I know for a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, 50 weeks, don't talk to me. That's way too much. We break that down into smaller segments, just like you would with a workout regimen, programming that and structuring out so that it makes sense. The minimum commitment I do ask from people is 3 months, because like I said earlier, it takes time to see results, to really see habits change. So really within 3 months, you can tell, are you starting to pick up on the practices, the ideologies, the things that we're wanting to work on. Now, the program itself is built around this 50-week curriculum. It's 37 specific practices that have been shown that with research of over 100,000 different clients that lead to the most change. And these practices, they're broken down, with nutrition, sleep and recovery, movement, and then just what I like to call deep health, the overall understanding of our bodies at a more core level. And what's awesome about the programs is it's fully customizable. I only work with a certain amount of clients at a time, so it's never a big, diet program like here fit into these confines of this framework. We focus on specific practices, and together we just develop an action plan in bi-weekly format. So every 2 weeks I meet with my clients. We talk about the specific practice. We design a specific activity that they're going to be tracking throughout the week or focusing on that's going to lead to change and results. And then we just we build upon that, or this idea of called habit stacking. I don't know if you're familiar with James Clear at all, but I think he framed that that idea of habit stacking, where you have a fundamental habit that already you do. What can we add to build onto that so that these practices become more consistent day in and day out and make that lifestyle switch? So the performance nutrition coaching program, like I said, it's 50 weeks, but it's awesome. This is, like I said, tell people, it's like going to school kind of. We have a curriculum, you have minimum requirements, percentages to me. So you have regular check-ins, you have somebody, that's going to call you up and expects you to do the work. So the accountability is there, and we're able to track the daily activity in and out throughout the year. And with the long-term hopes for everybody, there's good reward in the end, possibly, if you make it all the way through. Any of my clients that do the full program, I submit them to the international contest that Precision Nutrition sponsors. They give out $25,000 to one female, one male, twice a year. So it's a nice little incentive to make the change. But like I said, that's the full program, and that's a big commitment for a lot of people. So it's time investment and it is money investment. So we also do a 6-week jumpstart program. It's kind of just people to get a taste, dip their toes in, get a feel for it, see what it's like working with me one-on-one, and to see if this idea of not only changing, food and dietary structure, but also working on changing their mind frame or the mindset and the behaviors around how they treat that. If that is something that they notice is going to really lead to long-term results that they're after, then we can do that. And then the next one will actually be launching right there at the New Year's. So I do the 6-week program 5 times a year to bring on new clients. So we'll be pushing that here shortly for signups for the new year.
It's always a good time to get started, right?
Yeah. That one always seems to be the biggest influx of people, because obviously you got the New Year's resolution, you're coming off of the holiday weight gain, you're like, oh yeah, this is the year I'm going to change it.
Right.
But this year is a perfect example. When you say you're going to have a great year, you may not. Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
I think everybody can agree that we're ready to move past 2020 for sure.
Well, I'm hoping, that's going to be my thing, 2021, let's not make it 2020. Let's just erase that. I think absolutely. I fall in that same boat with everybody else. I put on a few pounds this year too. It's the COVID, whatever, 15 or 19, I would say.
Yeah, I think everybody turned to maybe a little bit too much of engorging on their pandemic snacks and alcohol, right? But it's okay to do every once in a while, but hopefully that doesn't become a long-term habit.
Yeah. Well, and that's the idea of the coaching program, and my philosophy behind it is really it's about what people say, I got to get rid of these bad habits and establish new ones. And that's what I do primarily, is I help people identify what works, and then we make that a habit so that, they know down the road they never have to diet again. You know, that's the goal. It's like have your own eating style, never go on a diet, be able to be flexible with your life, how it changes, but understanding what works best.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people have. You know, you've talked a lot about changing the mindset and changing their like frame of mind around what healthy eating and nutrition and what that can do for their lifestyle. And I think people are also kind of emotionally connected, you know, to food and have some difficulty in making that switch or being ready to make that switch. It can be really overwhelming, both you know, just mentally and emotionally, and overcoming those boundaries and understanding that they can still, you know, still make progress and work towards their goals without completely giving up everything for the rest of their life, and being able to find that balance is key.
Yeah. Well, the idea of giving up things is, you know, that's synonymous with diets. It's like, what do I have to cut out, right? But really, I like to flip the script, and this is it's all about mindset. It's like, what do we want to add instead? Like, focus on addition versus subtraction. Add in the good stuff. Don't worry about the bad stuff. It'll subtract itself out the more you eat the good stuff, anyways.
Yeah, I like that.
So it really is, like I said, it's just a changing of thinking. And when you're able to grasp that, I mean, it's amazing the results I see with people, not only with just, you know, eating better, but they really kind of adapt a lot of these ideas into other areas of their life. You know, they're moving more, you know, they build a better support system. The people they're communicating with or engaging with regularly are the same people that are involved in healthier activities. So it's kind of a snowball effect.
Yeah, when you add those good things, your energy levels improve, so your movement improves, your, you know, overall fitness and endurance improves, cardiovascular health improves. It really can take you down a much different road.
Yeah. So.
So do you have anything more that you want to add on that we haven't covered yet?
No. I mean, I feel like we've gotten a lot here. I know we're approaching about 35 minutes, so people are probably tired of hearing us ramble on too much. It's like, okay, I know I need to do something about my diet now. So,
so what's the best way for somebody to get in contact with you if they want to check out your Jumpstart program coming up in January, or want to discuss more of some of the other options that you have?
yeah. So there are a couple ways. First, I would say go to our website. It's giordonofitness.com. That's GIORDONO fitness.com. You know, you can see the information on the programs there. You can also reach out to me, Giordano Fitness at Gmail, or sorry, GiordanoHF@gmail.com. So you can reach me by email that way. There's also, you know, there's a contact tab on the website. So I would just tell people, go to the website, navigate that. If you have questions, reach out to us directly, and we can always kind of guide you through what would be the best fit, what makes the most sense. Because like I said, this really the difference between the nutrition coaching and a diet per se is really the individualization and customizing of understanding like what it is for you, versus just saying follow this system and good luck on your own. I'll check in with you from time to time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's really easy to lose track of kind of what your goal is on your own. So, well, thank you again for sharing all the information that you have and kind of what you do. You know, if any of your clients that are watching this, you know, are interested in combining kind of what you're doing with more of a musculoskeletal movement or dealing with some musculoskeletal pain, you know, you can find us at www.fitmjc.com, and or you can email to info@fitmjc.com. fitmjc.com, or you can contact me directly at Jim at FITMJC.com. So I've enjoyed working with you and talking with you about this, and appreciate you coming on and sharing what knowledge you have.
I definitely appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you sharing that information for yourself. At the end, I definitely would recommend to a lot of my clients, go check you guys out. I know we didn't talk about it a lot, but what I have noticed, there's a lot of different chiropractic clinics out there, physical therapies, and kind of find working with you. There's a nice mesh between the two in terms of, been promoting the recovery process, not just the residual, come back in, treat, or put the Band-Aid on. You guys are trying to get to the core of the problem and helping correct it moving forward, which is really the key to, I think, all recovery. So
yeah, and our mission at FIT is really just to help empower people to live their healthiest lifestyle. And obviously we always kind of market towards an active population, but everybody does different things throughout the day, and life's a sport. So we have populations of all different kinds that come in, and so whether your goal is just simply to be able to get moving a little bit better, if you're starting on your fitness journey, or if you've been in the fitness journey a while and you're feeling like your body's kind of feeling the effects of that, we can help improve, just pain recovery, help with getting things moving correctly, look through everything and do some soft tissue work, just kind of break down some of that repetitive strain, and then kind of help guide you moving forward. So we'd be happy to help.
Good. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be sending people your way. No.
All right, Anthony. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you again having us on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.